Well, how about a spot of tea as we get ready to do our reviews today of the Hallmark Royal Trope Week or
I
weeks.
I do have my tea. I don't have any biscuits though.
I have my tea as well. I'm doing a black cinnamon. How about you?
A rubus
Okay.
with a spot of honey.
Well, this is Eric,
This is Andrea.
and this is Hallmark Mysteries and
And
more.
more.
This podcast was created by fans for fans and is not affiliated with or sponsored by Hallmark or the Hallmark channel.
We definitely have the more going today because we're about as far away from mystery as we can get.
I know Royals, which is I don't understand. We just were talking about this, but do you ever see online people being like, "Yes, more royal movies"?
Yes, I
No, I have
it
never
is it
seen
is
that.
it is
Who
my
says this?
least favorite trope, but I am amazed. Dara
People
loves
enjoy this?
Dara, dear Hallmark. She loves her
Oh,
royal movies.
Tara.
A lot of people
Tara.
love the royal. I don't get it. I think it is my least favorite, or if not,
Me
it's pretty
too.
darn close
Yeah, same.
to it, which makes this an interesting week for podcasts, whatever, to
Yeah,
discuss.
but
But
we wanted to. And there's only three, so at least there's only three. I guess
which
that's
is
a win.
interesting because Hallmark. So some of the little grumbling I've heard is Hallmark's going to be slowing down their production because one of the things they do is they make like a gazillion movies a year. And if you think about it, they only did three, which I found kind of odd as opposed to four. But maybe this is a way where they're like, oh, we'll do instead of a whole month's worth, like they did, the Austin last year with four movies, maybe we do three and then we'll just throw in, which they did the Mystery Island simulcast, which still we'll have to see how that fared because we talked about it when we reviewed
It's
an
polarizing.
interesting movie to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
for the Hallmark Channel and that whole audience.
yeah.
So, but it is a way that is this like Hallmark's way of instead of doing four new movies a month, they're going to start tapering it down and doing three. I
So
don't know.
looking at the Spring into Love, I can see it on the Hallmark app. We have the Jenna's First Love, Sherry's Second Act. We have Josh's Third Serving, and then we wrap up with Kiki's Fourth Ingredient. And then we have a random fifth movie as part of the Spring into Love that doesn't seem to be related to any of those. Was called Journey to You. So I
Those,
guess I'm
sorry,
confused. Why would you do that as part of your Spring into Love? Why wouldn't you just make Journey to You a royal movie and tag that on to the royal month rather than a random fifth movie in your Spring into Love, right?
and I don't know. Think about all these first, second, third, fourth type movies.
They're
The
never good.
the unwrappings, right? The
I didn't
one
even
with
watch
Natalie
those.
Hall, like
Ugh.
those are always
Are made cheap.
horrible, and they're typically um, acquisitions, not actual
Yes.
Hallmark movies.
Yes.
So I don't have,
High
yeah, when they
expectations.
do that series like that, I don't have a lot of
But I will
optimism,
say,
but we will
we
see.
have Steve Lund in the first one. So
I
I for
heard
sure am
it.
watching.
I heard he gets
He's not going
killed
to get
in
murdered. He's
he
not going to
gets
get
killed
murdered.
in the first 30 seconds.
He's not. So Ashley Newbrow, I like her. So I feel like I will give these a watch, and we'll see. If the first one is not great, I don't know if I'll continue watching the other three, but I will give the first one a watch just to see maybe it's better. Again, the unwrapping, I knew instantly this is
Right.
not going to be something I want to and it was around Christmas time, which we already had 1,000 movies. I didn't want to invest time into a series that clearly was not great for myself.
So I just realized we've ourselves between the two of us talked a lot about it, but we haven't really talked about in the podcast the great news of Mistletoe Murders that it officially, because before it was
Yes.
announced in that one website, which when I talked to the producers, they're like, no, that's actually not true. And
Oh,
the information in that post was inaccurate. So it's not there. We're close, but we're not there. And
okay.
now it is actually. When you see Sarah Drew popping the champagne, that's a good sign. But could not be more excited because
Yes.
the more I think about it, and I was thinking I'm gonna do a rewatch because we're not getting any real new mysteries coming up,
No, we're
right?
not.
That I think I'm going to do another Mistletoe Murders rewatch just to get my mystery fix on because I, this is going to sound very, very bold. It may be my favorite mystery of all time now.
Well, I don't know if it's mine, but I mean, I like it. I like it a lot, but I would have to
And
really sit with that
and
to
and
figure
I'm
out
and
that.
part of it, and this is why I was talking about giving the rewatch. That ending though, the Emily, who are you? I have one question, who are you? What a way to keep you on your seat, kind of like Cut Color Murder, maybe, huh? Or Mystery 101. But we actually are getting a
Follow
re
up.
follow-up, yeah. So, well,
Oh,
shall we take off to some made-up European little sovereign?
yes. Yes. Well, we get to start in Boston.
Oh, good
So the
point.
first movie we watched was called The Royal Wii. When her older sister elopes with a non-royal, Princess B, who has lived her life away from her royal duties, must now step in and honor the arranged marriage to a small kingdom prince. It stars Mallory Jansen and Charlie Carrick. Now that's really funny. So that description, I'm like, huh, is that what the movie was about? I did not even catch that, so that's really funny. Well, this one was 4 stars for me. I actually really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was fast paced. It was entertaining. It really broke the mold for me on what like a typical royal movie was like. They started us in Boston. It had some fun comedy. It had some charm to it. The ending scene that they were running to each other, I personally really enjoyed it. I know maybe it didn't quite make sense, but for me, I'm like, yes, this is great. Running in the woods. Why not? Mallory Jansen, I think she was just so great in this movie, speaking several different languages. Like she really shined, and so for me, that really helped elevate this movie to the 4 stars. So this maybe, well, we'll save. Maybe it will be my favorite of the month. We'll see because there's 2 others that might be pushing it. Will it get more than 4 stars? Though we'll see.
I don't know. I also gave it 4 stars. Mallory Jensen, like she just really doesn't miss. She is so good. Francesca Quinn. I mean, think
Yeah,
about that range, right? From this to
so good.
that. Wide, wide range. And I will say I was dreading when you're like, oh, we're going to be doing a royal recaps. I'm like, no, no. And then I was torn because I'm like, I like Mallory so much, but I hate royals. And you know what? Mallory won. This was a really cute movie. And part of it, and you kind of alluded to it, normally the whole royal trope is about the fish out of water, right? And for this one, it wasn't, which was really unique. She was
Yeah,
a royal.
yeah,
So it wasn't her trying to be the
that's
like
a great point.
awkward
Yeah,
adjustment. She was the royal. She didn't want it. And so it was her
yeah,
going back. And then it's funny that you say about all the languages because I don't understand like when she switched between them, like sometimes she had her American, sometimes she had her British accent. I didn't quite understand why she would do it because it wasn't necessarily just when she was being royal. Maybe it was, and I just wasn't following enough. But the irony is she's Australian, so I mean these are
I
all
know.
accents
So
for her,
good.
right? It's not even her
Yes.
natural accent. So she was great. And one of the good things about this movie that I really enjoyed, which we don't get often enough in Hallmark, they actually, in my opinion, spent the time building the relationship, developing it. Whereas usually it's like they'll do some plot things, this, that, and the other, and all of a sudden, kaboom, hey, look, we love each other. Where this one, I thought they really did develop a relationship that was a lot of fun. And like you said, that ending was, yeah, kind of cute. Like, go run, go run. And the best part is how they were so far off of timing from like, oh, you'll meet, cut him off before the airport, and had he not done it. So it was really cute there. And for me, the last thing I'll say is the friend, like I like quirky, funny characters. For me, I just found her a little too much. So I don't know. Maybe you disagree?
Maybe we'll find out.
Okay. Oh, I think I know where you're
Uh,
going. All right. Shall we then move? Oh,
well,
by the
fan
way,
corner. I'll tell us what do the
wait,
fans
one
think.
last thing, and we'll talk about this at some point, but it was the 3 movies, how they all had that little end tie-in to each other was
But they
cute.
didn't on the last movie,
Yes,
did
they
they?
did. We'll get
Oh,
to
sure.
there. I'll remind you.
Great,
Remind me.
because I so Okay.
I'll remind you.
Foreshadowing for what I thought of that last movie. Woof. Okay. Fan corner then for the Royal Wii. 5 out of 5 was 22%. 4 out of 5 was 53%. 3 out of 5, 24%, and 1 or 2 was just 2%. So I will
Seems
just say
right.
that is the overall winner for fan voting. So that movie right there.
Seems right.
Recap now. Moving on to the Reluctant Royal. Now we're going to Philly. Philly mechanic Johnny is surprised to learn that his long-lost father is a duke, but the duke isn't quite what he expected, nor are his growing feelings for the duke's advisor, Prudence. This stars Andrew Walker and Emily Day Raven. So for me, I gave this one 3 stars. It was kind of slow and boring at times for me. It wasn't a typical royal movie since it starred Andrew and, having the male be the surprise royal, and it focused more on that lens than maybe that female-led lens. I think if you love Andrew Walker, from my guests and what I've seen online, everyone who loves Andrew, like this was a 5-star. This was their favorite movie of the year. And I think that is purely Andrew driven of just like his, which we all have. Like we have that movie where we're like, we love that movie star so much. It doesn't matter what they do. We're just gonna love the movie. So I think that's where this one maybe had some elevated from what I see online of like, yes, this was the best movie. Because I personally don't agree. Even of the royals, it wasn't for me my favorite. But him trying to reconnect with his royal dad, I found that kind of endearing-ish. The karaoke, he was shirtless, he had tight shirts on. Clearly, like that also is probably going to elevate it for people. And then like having his actual businesses mentioned with like the juice company, I found that to be kind of cute, a little tie-in there because I also have beets in my fridge and I still need a beet juice recipe because I kind of want to make some now, and see if I can. I'm sure some ginger is involved and see what I can come up with.
Wait, why do you
But
have beets if you don't have a juicer? Or beet juice
well,
or whatever, beet juice recipe?
I mean, I don't have a beet juice recipe. I just have beets in case I want to make like a beet soup.
Okay.
You don't just eat beets?
I
No?
do not know the last time I had a beet.
What? Okay. Well,
Let's take a beet. Let's take a beet
I
and think
like
about that.
beets. I like beets. And I enjoy
You
it.
live in
Like I'll chop
Minnesota.
them up and just throw them into like some veggie stir fries. No? They're so
Well,
pretty. The color, it will stain for a little bit. So yeah. Well, there you go, Eric. Now that's you're going grocery shopping after this. So go ahead and grab yourself a couple beets.
I just have to figure out what to do with them. Okay.
Coconut milk. Put some coconut milk in.
I have coconut milk.
See, that would be a great little soup. So there you go. What do you think?
I also gave it a 3. And,
Wow.
as I talked about the last one about it being fresh and interesting, not being the fish out of water, this was
Yeah.
exactly the fish out of water that
But with a
is
male instead of female.
right, but that is every Hallmark royal trope. So
100%.
it gave that. I thought Emily de Ravine, if that's how we say her name, I thought she was really good and charming. She's also Australian, so she was doing her little British accent with that. So sadly, though, I don't think we'll ever see her again. She just seems like one of those people who they cast in one of these movies that we just never sadly see. So that's kind of a shame. I thought the evil cousin, I really liked that character. I thought he was funny and just in how blatantly
Oh,
evil
yes.
he was.
A true bad guy in a
Yeah,
Hallmark
I
movie.
am going to take over and I'm going
Yes.
to ruin the lives of all these little commoners. And so I thought he was funny. He was an over the top bad guy, but I liked that. Uh, I just didn't think it's what I liked about the Royal We, where I said they took the time to develop the relationship. Whereas this one, I don't think that it was just sort of like, oh, hey, I like you. And it just was there. And it was, more power to it. I understand showing Andrew Walker without a shirt, taking all that time. And maybe that's all she needed to do to be like, okay, I'm all in because I will say Andrew Walker, you look pretty damn good shirtless. I will admit that. So, but it just to me, it was just very much a typical royal movie that was saved by Andrew Walker just being
Andrew
really
Walker.
good, right?
Yeah.
He was funny, had some good humor in there, but all in all, the movie to me wasn't like I say, there was the twist of okay, it's the guy, not the female, but not enough for me to be
In love
just
with
a
it.
regular
Wow.
old royal movie, which is I'm not the fan of.
Well, looking at the fan corner, they pretty much agree with us. 5 out of 5 was 16%, 4 out of 5 was 30, 3 out of 5 was 45%, and then 1 or 2 was 9%. So kind of right in line with what we thought there.
It wasn't like a terrible thing, but it wasn't anything special that will ever be watched again in the Rutan household.
Well, now coming on to our last one, royal-ish. Lacey is an amusement park princess who befriends 8-year-old, it should actually now be 9-year-old Rose, a real-life princess, and is recruited by her handsome father to travel to their kingdom and be the new governess. This stars Nicole Sakura and William Mosley. Well, I gave this one a 2.5 stars. Besides the theme park, it's kind of a snooze fest. I, again, started this movie strong. I liked the first 30 minutes of them being in the amusement park, having some fun things. I thought that the merry-go-round was literally going to fall apart as we're watching that scene. Like, it looked so rickety and old. And like, I feel like the actors were actually like looking, like the looks they gave of like concern. Is this going to break? Are we going to fall on our faces because this thing is so old?
We're trying to get the character, the daughter's fear of the horses and put her on
well,
this
the whole thing falls apart. So for me, that was a highlight. And again, just as we had said, there was nothing new about this royal movie. I mean, she came back to the country then. I literally probably zoned out for a good 45, 50 minutes of that middle portion of the movie, just because it was all the same tropes of everything. I mean, just the guy trying to be like, oh, you can't be here. You're going to have scandal to the royal family. And then, someone hearing it and telling the family, and her coming back to the Princess P. Plus that boss, like, what? If you cannot have your picture on social as this person or will break costume, I'm sorry. Like, I feel like my son, who is that age, he is 9, would be like, yeah, I expect that to be someone in a costume. It is not an actual princess. That's the first thing he would ask me. Is that an actual princess? No, it is not. It's someone dressed up as one. Oh, okay. That's it. No dreams are crashed in his head. Like, that is just
your son's in therapy for the next 14 years.
I'm sorry. Like, it's not that serious. Like, they can post that. Like, wouldn't you want that? Because then people will be like, oh, so-and-so's got a huge Instagram follow. I want to see her because she's this on, Princess P. Like, the world just works differently, I feel, than what this boss thinks. So that whole shenanigans also didn't work for me, just because I'm like, this doesn't seem actually realistic. And then the ending, again, very typical, expected that to happen. Cute little horse scenes at the end that I did enjoy the horse scene in this movie.
Is the offspring
Colton.
In the royal, the reluctant royal at the very end when Brisket had the baby or whatever, the sibling, and was sending off to the cousin. That is the horse that he sent off at the end.
Did they mention that?
Yes.
No, I was totally.
And then they're like, "Oh, here's."
I just looked at the horse and
my cousin sent me
ignored it.
Biscuit or Trisket. I don't know which one's Biscuit and which one's Trisket, but send it off. So there's your tie-in.
I did enjoy. I actually really liked they tied it in. I heard that the tie-ins were not there when they released them, not on opening night. So the only time that the actual tie-ins showed were if you watched it live. I guess in future viewings they didn't do that, which makes complete sense because if you want to watch,
it was on Plus.
Yeah, but not on the regular Hallmark channel. That is what I was told. Gotcha. And it makes sense because if you're going to just plop royalish, let's say May 3rd, and not going to air the next ones, people aren't going to understand the tie-in. So that to me makes sense that they filmed a couple different endings. I think it's a little wink and nod at those who watch it live or on Plus who enjoy that. So I like that they did that. I actually did appreciate that little wink for the fans.
They seem to be doing that a little more often in some of the movies. The little winks
makes sense.
So where they make fun of a Hallmark thing. The previous, I forget who it was, where they're making fun of like their other characters and other movies or something like that. So,
what about you? What did you think?
I was a little bit different than you. Oh. I actually gave it a 3.5.
I mean, why? You liked it?
And here's the thing. It wasn't a fresh idea. I shouldn't have liked it because, like you say, everything you said, absolutely true. But I thought Nicole Sakura, or however we say her last name, I thought she was...
The finish line, she was wonderful.
I thought she was actually fantastic in this. And I really liked the way that they made her character seem kind of more real than just oh, I'm the clueless American who comes over. Like, only thing she did was the weird curtsy. But other than that, she stood up for herself. She was just like, hey, I'm here for the kid. I thought she was absolutely brilliant and single-handedly
Save the
elevated
movie
the
for you.
movie
Okay.
to be like, I like watching her. I 100% agree. The actual movie and the plot and all of that did not care for, but I thought she did a absolutely fantastic job. The other thing I kind of talked about in the last movie too, how the relationship's just all of a sudden there. You did get an early kiss, which was kind of fun. We always like when it's not this that final one. But one of the things that's really hard to do, and they did not do, is when you have a kid and you have that little adult kid relationship, and you're trying to do the romance relationship, there's just not enough time to really flesh them all out, right? So you get this very superficial type aspects of the relationship, even the kid relationship, which I thought actually they did a better job of that one than they did with the adults. And then you have the mom who was the queen, a little like, was she bad in just the typical royal one? But she seemed to come around kind of quickly because also 100% every mean royal parent in these does a complete about face of everything that they've done for the last 50 years of their character in a matter of 13 seconds when, oh, my son is happy, but whatever. So like I say, for me, the only reason why it's not with you at that 2.5 was I thought she just she brought it and she completely elevated and made this movie watchable for me. Will I watch it again? No, but I did enjoy her, and I hope, unlike where we, like I say, we'll never see Amelia again or Meal. I hope we see her again because she was, like you said, finish line. She was great. Give her the lead here. She killed it. And then I'll say I love flash forwards. So they gave us one. Was it original or anything like that? Absolutely not. But it was cute. I thought like they looked cute walking together. So I had a good time with it.
Well, fan corner for this one. This is the lowest one for
And I
people.
could totally see why.
5 out of 5. Maybe this was you, Eric. Was 4% of the vote. 4 out of 5
I did not give it a 5.
was 15%.
I'm in that 3 range.
3 out of 5 was 56%, and then 1 or 2 was 26%. So this was not as well received, which I can totally see why. Many people also commented, yeah, it wasn't their favorite. So now we kind of have a few different like best ofs, favorite characters, all the things, and I think we're going to be a little different on some of these.
I
Best
don't think the
romance.
first one we can be any different.
We're going to be different. Best romance, Andrew and Emily from The Reluctant Royal. Now, only because
wait. It literally was Andrew seeing her and going, "Hey, she's hot," and that was the relationship
That's all I
from
needed.
the whole thing, right?
Okay, so hear me out. I didn't think any of the relationships were that great, and so I just randomly was like, "All right, which one am I going to pick?" And then I
What
figured,
did
oh,
they do
Eric,
that was romantic
this is my
together?
thoughts. Eric is going to pick Mallory, so I'm going to go ahead and Andrew and Emily. Then that's the next best one. I'm going to throw it there because I didn't buy any of the romances, I guess, that much. So now you're going to tell us you picked
Of
the Royal
course.
Wii.
B and Prince Edmund. They're up on the roof doing like little romantic stargazing together. They were doing things. They ran romantically at each other. We just talked about they actually had romance other than her walking in, ooh, buff, and him seeing her first of all. She's cute. I don't like her, but she's cute, so I'll do it. By the way, I'll go back to the Reluctant Royal. Karaoke. Throw karaoke in every movie. It's awesome. I love karaoke, but yep, it is hands down. You're just trying to pull out something.
No, I was trying to diversify
I
my
know. Like I
ratings.
say, it clearly though, B and Prince Edmund were the winner.
Well, I also think we're going to have different favorite character
I do think
takes.
so.
So I actually really liked, her name is Ray Lim. She played Chloe Hargraves from the Royal Wii. She was a funny best friend to Princess Bee, who was like all about getting kidnapped with the princess.
We
I thought
are
she
definitely
was
different.
the perfect best friend, and she brought humor into the movie. So overall, she was a win. When I was like, who is my standout person? That's the only one that came to mind. So that's who I picked. Clearly not Eric's favorite. Who did
All
you
right.
pick?
I could have chose Brownie because Brownie
The
was,
horse?
yeah, Brownie was fantastic. The way he was nice and, or I
Oh
don't
my
know if it's a
gosh.
she, nice and mellow. Brownie was fantastic.
Uh,
Mallory would have been my easy pick
yeah,
for B. She was just great.
agree.
And Mallory, like I say, I'll watch her. You're talking about like your Andrew. People will just watch anything and like a movie. I have yet to see something I don't like Mallory, and ever since the her pen pal, which one of my favorite Hallmark movies of all time, and then like 12 Gifts. I think it's 12 Gifts of Christmas, which she was in. Some people didn't like. Love her. So Mallory could have been, but I'm going with Lacey in the last one, which I know you
Oh
didn't
yeah.
like because I just like I say, it was not a great movie by any means, and I thought her performance was just next level. So she gets it.
Well, then we'll slide into our favorite setting. So for me, this one, I am actually going to go to the Royalish with a theme park because, man, that was my highlight. Because I'm like thinking about what makes these movies different. And I'm like, well, it's where they started. And for me, where they started, the theme park was the big winner. So that gives my nod. As far as the castle, I don't care. They all are basically the same. That part of the movie is all the same. So I go with a theme park because I don't know if Hallmark has really done that too much in movies, besides maybe just like one quick shot. But we kind of got to go
Wasn't there
backstage.
merry-go-round, whatever?
Yeah, they're
Which was
yeah,
there?
they only had the merry-go-round, really, right?
Yeah,
I don't think that was a very good movie, so I can't really remember
I
much of
didn't
it. So
either.
okay. Well, what do you have for your favorite setting?
My first line was, "Aren't they exactly the same
Yeah.
with the settings?" So I'm with
You
you,
gotta
but
go.
kind of like with you, I
Boston,
went for the
Philly, or
pub.
theme park.
I went for the
Okay.
pub in the
Yeah.
Reluctant Royal,
Here we go.
and it just made me wish. And all these because I watch all these British uh, mysteries and stuff like that, and they always have that little neighborhood pub. It makes me wish I just had one where you would just
Neighborhood.
essentially go to every day, whether you're going to get your beer or just going to have some fish and chips or whatever, right? Just that little neighborhood community spot where everyone convenes. So I liked it. I wish I could have gone there and hang out with all of them.
Well, then we'll rank these. We might have a little different rankings then. So my third favorite movie
Yeah,
of the month was Royalish. What was yours?
it was the Reluctant Royal.
My second was The Reluctant Royal.
Mine is Royalish.
And then our top, both of us are going to be the Royal Wii. So
And
that is no surprise.
would you say it's a fairly significant gap between one and two?
Yes.
Yeah.
I would watch the Royal Wii again. Reluctant Royal, I guess I would, if it's on background, fine. But I would potentially watch it again. Mostly when the Royals come on, I kind of turn the TV. Like it came on after the movie last night, and I was like, no, thank you. And I went back to the women's or girls' state basketball tournament here in Minnesota was happening, so I put on that to watch that game versus another round of the Royal Wii. So, not my preference.
I put on BritBox last night.
Nice.
So
Well, next week we are going to be reviewing the final fixer-upper, Deadly Deed, and so we'll do that. We'll probably have another interview. So those will
Kaylee
be
Evans from The Good Witch and Mistletoe Murders.
So that will be next week. So that should be a good time. So it's been a pleasure as always, Eric.
Until next time, cheerio.
Cheerio. Cheers.